What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike, and today I'm back with a post-emergency room nightmare update for you guys. It's been fucking wild. Between the comments on my YouTube video, which actually, performs like most of my videos. When I was in the ER or in the hospital the other day, I cut obviously all those little individual videos one at a time. And because I couldn't put them up on YouTube right away, I wanted to have a public record in case they ended up killing me, which they seemed hell-bent on doing. And so I'd been uploading them one by one to Instagram. So those of you who were following me on Instagram already knew what was going on before I posted on YouTube. And of course, there's nine clips that I uploaded. And the one where I threatened to sue for malpractice now has 11,000 views on Instagram. And it's just been really disappointing to see the comments because the vast majority of people in there hating, telling me not to sue, which is not even my primary fucking objective here. I just was upset while I was in the ER, and I said that I felt like the treatment level I was getting was trespassing into medical malpractice territory. And I've just got an army of RNs and basically people who work in the medical field trying to desperately convince me not to go get legal advice, which of course only makes me want to get legal advice even more. So it's been a wild last day since I voluntarily checked myself out of the ER. So the good news is that I still feel really good. Whatever condition whatever bug I initially got that sent me to the ER to begin with seems to be staying at bay. I still have a little bit of cough, which will probably come up in this video at some point, but my chest congestion is much better and I haven't been coughing up anything for some time now. I posted a picture yesterday on my Instagram. I don't think I showed it in the video. I can't remember if the camera will pick this up, but the yellow color in my eyes that was here yesterday, I don't know if the camera saw any of that, is actually looking better today. So I'm hoping that the ALT levels that were so high when I left the hospital hopefully peaked and are trending down. I don't have any symptoms of having any liver problems at this point. So I'm hopeful that that is going to correct itself shortly, although everything that I've read about drug-induced liver injury says that they can actually continue to go up for some period. In some cases, it can continue to increase for weeks after you're exposed to the drug. Hopefully, because I was only on it for 6 days, the damage will be minimal. I went to bed at about 4 o'clock in the morning last night and slept until 6:45 p.m. this evening. So obviously I desperately need to catch up on some sleep. Physically, I'm feeling, I'm feeling great. Honestly, if I wasn't in such a massive calorie deficit, I think I would be close to saying that I feel good as new. Unfortunately, in the process of the three days I was in the ER and in admission, I lost 13 pounds of body weight. So when I got home, I was all the way back to 200. Obviously, I know that the vast majority of that is water weight and glycogen and all of the things that come with rapid weight loss. I've been in an extreme calorie deficit for about 2 weeks now. So the good news is today I'm starting to eat. Obviously, I have taken a lot of the drugs out of my protocol. The MK677 is gone, so that's certainly not helping with my appetite. The Proviron is gone, and I chose last night to stop, to at least temporarily pause the Tren and Deca, because those forced me to take cabergoline, and they're the most stressful drugs on my blood pressure and my pulse rate, and I want to give my body the best chance that it can to try to recover the damage that the meds that were prescribed to me by Baylor, Scott & White have caused. So the good news is, like I said, today I'm feeling substantially better than I have in the last 14 days. I'm eating solid food. I'm keeping fluids down. My energy levels are coming back up. And so I'm hopeful that things are going to get better. Due to the fact that I slept so late, I was not able to go get blood work today. Hopefully I'll still be awake first thing in the morning, and I can go pull another comprehensive metabolic panel and maybe a couple other things to check and see if in fact my liver enzymes have continued to climb or if they peaked and are on their way down. My other concern is that my potassium level was elevated to the point that it could cause heart arrhythmia. And when I got the blood work, I got the blood work that they do at the hospital is like a day behind getting reported to my phone, to my Baylor, Scott & White patient portal. And on the latest blood work, my potassium was back up right to the edge of being too high. So depending on what that looks like, it's possible I could have to return to the ER to somewhere else to have them lower the potassium, or risk I guess it would cause cardiac arrest or some kind of fibrillation could potentially be the cause of that. So I'm going to be making an entire video going over a lot of the data that I got from the hospital. That video eventually is going to be called something like sonogram of vital organs after 3 years of steroid abuse. One thing I would like to make abundantly clear in this video for all of the haters who have been all over Instagram and all over the YouTube channel, everyone has tried to desperately point the finger and say, "Ha, we told you, we've been warning you about this forever. The steroids caused all of these problems." The good news is that the first thing the doctors ruled out were the steroids. I admitted the first time I went to the doctor, I didn't have to admit, I walked into the ER 215 pounds at 5'10" with 6 visible abs. So they were pretty. It was pretty clear to everyone in the ER that I was fucking taking steroids, and I told the doctors exactly what I was taking. Currently, I told them the drugs that I've taken in the past. I made it very clear during my initial visit that I had taken oxymethylone and Anavar, any of the 17 alpha alkylated hepatotoxic drugs that I've taken. And so they went over the list of compounds that I was currently using and ruled that out as something that would be causing all of my effects, which is what you fucking idiots in the comments section can't seem to figure out, is that none of the things that I reported to the hospital for are even remotely in the fucking realm of what you'd expect from steroid abuse, which is why they spent the vast majority of their time looking for whatever was wrong with my lungs, which were clearly presenting with cough and congestion of some kind. So what they did do, however, over the course of both of the visits that I was there, was a full thoracic CT scan and a sonogram of my heart, all of the aorta, the valve, the veins and vessels, whatever. I don't know all of the things that lead from the heart, but everything that they could sonogram of my heart, they looked at. They did a sonogram of my gallbladder, my pancreas, my liver, my right kidney, and I think I'm missing something, but basically every one of my vital organs they looked at with a sonogram. And lo and behold, every single one of my vital organs came back perfectly normal, with the exception of the fact that I do have some gallstones. The gallstones are likely caused or can be caused by excessive carbohydrate intake. I think they're made of fat. So my high cholesterol levels may have contributed to that. Once they ruled the gallbladder out as the causal factor, I didn't do a whole lot more research into that, because I've just never had any symptoms of having a gallbladder problem. They showed me exactly where the pain would start, where I could check on my body, where I could kind of gently push or poke to see if there was any sensitivity. And I have never had any sensitivity there my entire life. and the surgical team said, look, you could have had these stones for 20 years and they never caused you a problem. You could have them for another 20 years. They could never cause you a problem. So the number of misdiagnoses and horrifically scary things that I was told during both of my visits, the overwhelming majority of them just turned out to be complete and total bullshit. What really matters is that my heart is of perfectly normal size. They found no blockages anywhere in the arteries or veins that they looked at leading away from the heart. They looked at, like I said, and then my liver was perfectly healthy. Kidneys were perfectly healthy as far as they could tell from the sonogram. And all of my other organs were perfectly sized. So there was no signs of left ventricular hypertrophy. One of the doctors on the first CT, I think, said there was some thickening of one of the walls, but that was not consistent with any type of drug abuse, that it was likely just due to many years of bodybuilding in general. Basically nothing that they were able to find in any of the blood work or the CT scan or the x-rays or the sonography pointed at androgen use of any kind. So obviously that's really great news to hear. It means that if I can get over whatever is going on, which apparently is what they call drug-induced liver injury. People have been arguing this point. It's amazing the mentality of the people online that will tell me, no, that's not what it is. It's really the steroids. When I have fucking medical release paperwork from the ER saying that I need to report to a liver specialist for drug-induced liver injury. For all of the people who keep trying to suggest that the drug-induced liver injury was from the steroids, can't seem to follow along with the most basic storytelling, which is that I've been getting blood work done the entire time I've been using steroids, and I got blood work done when the initial illness reared its ugly head, and none of that blood work and none of my previous sonography, CT scans, or x-rays has ever shown any deleterious effects from the not small amounts of performance enhancing drugs that I use. So the good news to come from this entire disaster is that if I can get healthy from what they did to me, then I should be back on track to chasing my bodybuilding goals again very soon. The good news about not having pneumonia is that I already feel substantially better. I feel like if I could go eat 1,500 calories right now, I would go to the fucking gym tonight. That's how good I feel. I don't know what the problem is in the community with people who just desperately want to blame steroids for every problem apparently that mankind has, but there's just no clear data. Then there's the army of people who are telling me that I shouldn't seek legal advice. This is not about some like vindictiveness or I'm not trying to destroy anyone's career. When I said that I was going to seek legal advice, there's two primary reasons for that. One, I already have a $12,000 bill for the first time that I went to the ER where they didn't diagnose the problem and then prescribed me the drugs that caused the drug-induced liver injury. I don't think I should have to pay money for a doctor to totally 100% fail at their job. I'm going to have a bill that's probably twice as expensive, if not 3 times as expensive, for the next time that I had to go to the ER, which was caused by the first time. So at a bare minimum, I shouldn't have to pay for any of these people's malpractice, mistakes, misjudgments, whatever you want to call, whatever term you want to use for this. I shouldn't be responsible for paying for it. If you take your car to the shop and there's something wrong with it and they fail to diagnose the problem and bill you for a whole bunch of parts that you don't need, and then they determine that you didn't need any of those parts, they can't hold you responsible for their shoddy work. So when I said that I wanted to seek legal advice, that's first and foremost. I should not be responsible for paying for their fuck-ups. And number two, when you take into consideration the fact that they misdiagnosed me with a condition I didn't have, they prescribed me a drug that I didn't need that caused drug-induced liver injury, then they negligently crashed my blood sugar level to a point that could have caused permanent brain damage or put me into a persistent vegetative state. If you doubt that, look up what it means to have a blood sugar level of 42. Do your own research if you think I'm blowing this out of proportion. It is a very dangerous state to be in, and they caused that. I warned them that I had reactive hypoglycemia, and that you can't just give me a whole bunch of sugar and then shoot me full of insulin and think that my blood sugar won't crash. I have had catastrophic blood sugar crashes within 30 minutes of eating 600 calories of brownies. That's what reactive hypoglycemia is. They should have been monitoring my blood sugar constantly after administering that insulin, and they didn't. If my wife had not been in that room with me, I very possibly could have gone into a coma and died before they ever found out what was going on with me. So you've got that. Then on top of that, you've got an ER doctor who took one look at a sonogram and then told me and through me and my wife, my entire immediate family, that I was going to be having I was going to have my gallbladder removed in 4 hours. That's not while that may be a minimally invasive surgery, it's not a minimally invasive lifelong thing to have to cope with. Your gallbladder exists for a reason. And if they had removed it unnecessarily, it would have permanently affected the way I live for the rest of my life. It would have permanently affected how my body digests food, what foods I could eat. It could have had permanent effects on my ability to bodybuild. And she jumped to a conclusion and made a call that was not hers to make, which caused me and my entire family to have a massive fucking panic attack over what exactly was going on inside of my body. And so to have the surgery team come down 20 minutes later and go, oh my God, this is crazy. There's no reason to take out your gallbladder on account of a few stones. It's just another example of how these people just fucked up with every breath they took. And then through all of the time that I spent in the ER and then in the main hospital, nobody figured out that it was the antibiotics that was causing the problems. I had to bring that information to their attention, and when I brought to their attention that the drug they prescribed me was hepatotoxic, they then admitted that they had given me one of the drugs was called Zosyn. They'd given me Zosyn and another drug while I was in the ER that are also hepatotoxic. So they had a patient that was laying on the table with a 495 ALT level at one point, and they administered to that patient a hepatotoxic drug. I mean, if this is not the definition of malpractice, then I would love for somebody some lawyer to explain to me what is. I don't really give two shits what all of you RNs and other medical people are saying, because all of you have a bias in this situation. I had one girl on Instagram just ragging my ass about telling me that I had no lawsuit and this is crazy. And then she had to turn around and admit that she was actually sued by a patient and had to go through the entire process of a medical malpractice suit. So see, you could see where her bias is coming from, because she fucked up somewhere and had to be and was held accountable for it. And that's primarily who I see in the comments section trying to steer me clear of an attorney, which again, all you guys are doing is making me even more confident that I might legitimately have a case. This has never been about getting paid. This has never been about destroying anybody's career. It's been about me getting healthy, not having any long-term damage done to my body by the complete and total irresponsibility of basically the entire medical team that I was exposed to at Baylor, Scott and White. On the last day that I was in the hospital, they had put an IV in my elbow joint right here, And every time I would move my arm, it would stop the flow of the IV. It was put in a completely idiotic place. And so it was impossible for me to sleep or move around without completely shutting the IV machine down. And so I asked them could they move the IV, because it kept setting off the alarm and cutting off the flow of fluids. And they came up to move the IV, and these nurses are just salivating. They're talking about how amazing they have these big, huge rope veins, and they want to put a 22 gauge or a 20 gauge in, and they're all excited to give me this, to do this IV. And then they systematically failed 6 times. They kept trying to put the IV in all of these different spots. I've got holes all over my arms where they kept trying to run the IV and then either not getting the needle in the vein or blowing the vein, which they did 6 consecutive times before finally getting one of them right, which meant they poked me so many times, there was no room, really. They ran out of room to try to put another IV, I guess, or they were scared to try to put another one in. So they had to leave the one that I wanted originally moved in, and so now I had 2 IVs in each arm, but only one of them was working. I mean, I could just sit here and go on and on and on about all of the outrageous shit that I experienced in the hospital. I was not fed anything because the doctor told the nurse he can have anything on the menu. Then the nurse told me that the doctor had to order the food. And by the time the doctor responded to the request to order the food, then it was too late for the food. So then they had to order a late tray, which was going to take another hour to get up. I was checking out of the ER by the time they they had taken the IVs out and they were bringing me my discharge paper when the girl walked in with my food plate. So I was given no solid food for an entire day. Well, I guess from 6 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because they couldn't even coordinate between the doctor and the nurse to send a plate of food up. It was just a total massive clusterfuck at every single turn that ended with another doctor telling me that I was likely going to have a liver transplant because of the drugs that they gave me. So for all the people who keep arguing that I'm making all of this up, it's all in my medical paperwork. I wish I'd brought it in here, but I will definitely include it when I do the official video detailing every single thing that they gave me, going through every bit of the experience that I had. That video is certainly going to be made when I get a little bit more energy. But I just wanted to give those of you who've been following along this update that surprisingly, now that I'm out of the actual fucking hospital, I feel a lot better. I don't know how long I'm going to continue to feel better. I'm hoping that the fact that my eyes are less yellow today than they were yesterday is a sign that things are moving in the right direction. But again, like I said, this drug-induced liver injury can take weeks to fully manifest, and so I won't really know anything until I'm able to get some blood work. Hopefully, if I get it pulled first thing in the morning, I can get it back within 24 hours or less and get an idea about whether or not I'm going to have to re-report somewhere else to control the potassium increase in my bloodstream. So basically, I think that's all really to say today. This has been an incredibly disappointing experience. I always thought that, you know, worst case scenario, like when I've been doing all these experiments on my body, you know, or if I happen to get into a car accident, or if something, God forbid, were to happen to one of my children, I've always viewed the medical community as the people who were the best and the brightest of our entire society. And they have let me down in the most massive fucking way. I am terrified to think that I will ever have to go back to a hospital, or that one of my wife or children will ever have to go back to the hospital. It makes me wonder if we didn't lose all of our good doctors and nurses when they tried to force the COVID vax on everybody, because it seems to me that the people who were smart enough to reject the COVID vaccine are the critical thinkers in our world. They're the people who have the common sense and the logic. They're not the fucking drones that just do whatever everybody else tells them to do. And I know many of them lost their jobs over that vaccine, and I think that the entire medical community has suffered because of everything that was done during that period of time. I have been, you know, in and out of doctor's offices and hospitals many times in the past, and I have never in my lifetime experienced the low level of care that I received at Baylor, Scott & White. So I will be finding a new doctor, a new PCP, and I will be removing myself from this entire chain of hospitals in every conceivable way. and I will tell in grave detail, like I'm telling on this camera now, like I'm telling on Instagram. Every single person that I meet will hear this fucking story. So whether or not this ever becomes a legal thing, whether or not these people are ever legally held accountable for what I consider to be multiple instances of malpractice, or at a bare minimum, just completely unethical behavior, the toll will be paid in public opinion. That I can fucking guarantee you. I was just gonna say something else. I was thinking about that they did, but it slipped my mind again. So so there you have it. I'm feeling much better today, at least externally. I can't know what's going on internally until I get some more blood work. That will soon to be following. But for those of you who have been diehard fans, who have watched me do crazy things with my body, I just want you guys primarily to be reassured that before this illness occurred, there was absolutely nothing wrong with any one of my major organs. So for those of you who have been following in my footsteps with various steroid cycles or ancillary drugs, for those of you who've been worried about left ventricular hypertrophy, for those of you who've been worried about my heart size or my liver or my kidneys, every single workup they did showed that there was no pre-existing damage before I went to the fucking ER, and that's where all of this unfortunately started. So I guess in closing, the thing that this has taught me the most really is that I probably have an apology to make to a lot of people in my audience. I have been a total fucking prick to a lot of you that I have kind of looked down my nose at from an intellectual perspective. I have been very cruel sometimes in the comments with people who don't think the same way that I do, or don't learn as fast as I do. And that stemmed from this delusion that I've been having that you know, somehow the people in my audience were uniquely ignorant. And obviously I was horrifically wrong. The people that are supposed to be some of the smartest and the brightest in the world were absolutely no more intelligent, absolutely no better at critical thinking or logical thinking or understanding just basic human emotions than any of the people that I've had experiences with in my audience. And so for that, I do apologize. I will try to be better at ignoring just the abject, you know, trolls and haters, and be more patient with those of you who are genuinely just trying to learn and don't have the time to watch all 400 of my videos. Sometimes I get frustrated with people when they ask questions that I've already answered in a video, and I forget that it's like, you know, my God, like, what do I expect? You know, somebody's gonna find my YouTube channel and they're gonna go, oh shit, let me just spend the next 6 months doing nothing but fucking streaming Mike fucking 24 hours a day so I can learn, you know, everything that exists in this guy's brain. And so I've been very unfair to a lot of you guys, and I apologize for that. So who knows, maybe this will make everything better in the future, make for better content. It's certainly, if my body can recover from whatever damage this Augmentin did to it, it will certainly give me tremendous peace of mind in knowing that all of the things that I've been putting into my body are not damaging me, and I'm gonna go even harder than before and trying to get all my body weight back and see how far I can push it. Because it's fucking eye-opening when, you know, I would go on Anavar or say Anadrol, and I would see my ALT had climbed to 200, and I would freak out and be like, "Oh my God, that's way too high. I've got to shut it down now." And they're telling me that it's like when you look up drug-induced liver injury, or if you search, like, you can see the same data I've been looking at. If you look up Augmentin clavinate or just Augmentin ALT levels, you'll find an article that will show you that people who've been administered this drug have had ALT levels climb as high as 7,000 before they came back down to normal. 7,000. and apparently they fully recovered. So the liver is one hell of an organ. You know, I've always known that the liver was different than the kidneys. The kidneys are not good at repairing themselves, and the liver is very resilient. It's designed to take a beating. Mine is taking a beating right now, and I'm hoping that it's tough enough to stand up to that beating, and that I will get better soon and can get back to making better content. So my camera's about to cut off. As always, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.